What's up, Lucky Gamers? It's Lucky Lux. So let's talk about kind of like an updated list on characters that you want to look out for, different reasons to pull for these characters. Now that 1.6 is here, we can kind of talk about it, right? So most of you in Global have either decided to pull Kala / Black Dwarf or not, right? She's doing really well for people in Global because just Global didn't have a really strong mineral character in terms of power, but they had a consistent character with Eternity. Eternity was consistent. She was consistently able to beat the content. She was not a powerhouse like Melania when she came out for Beast, but Black Dwarf was an option. And Beast had also Centurion, who's a really strong character. It's just that Eternity is a safe option. She's a safer option. So I'm not going to just credit her. She's a really good character. But Black Dwarf came out and a lot of people love her. But she's a strong character, right? But a lot of people aren't feeling her because the limited character is out. Joe. Junang Z. Joe is really strong. I cannot deny it. She's an incredible character and it's easy to get her damage out. Right? There are a couple of characters that she pairs well with that really bring out the strength of her. And with her being reality, it's just really easy to team build with her as well. So that's why a lot of people are like saying don't get her, or stuff like that. But a lot of people I've known got her within like 30 pulls of average from a lot of people I've seen. So it's been pretty worth it for most people to pull her because they're like, I still have plenty of time to save. Because I mean, Joe's banner's up for a month and a half. That's plenty of time for most people. So, but anyways, so after this banner with Black Dwarf comes Shaman. Now, Shaman is a really good character that I believe later on, especially like 1.5, 1.6, Shaman has a really good placement in the in a lot of teams, because now Shaman works well with mental damage characters because he lowers mental defense and increases damage dealt, whereas Diggers only lowers mental defense, and Baby Blue can do it, but with two different abilities. He can do it with one, and he can also do damage, AoE damage, right? Shaman's a great character, but there are characters that do what he do, and I think that's why a lot of people are just going to cope with those characters. Bjorn Bloom does what he does on the reality side of things, and then people are going to go with like Diggers and Baby Blue to do what he does on the mental damage side of things. So I could see a lot of people just being like, I'll just use the characters I have and not worry about pulling for Shaman. Reasons to pull for Shaman is because in 1.5, with the boss that Beasts are really good against, he works well in that fight. He does a lot of damage in that fight. He can pair with, again, any character. So he could pair with Spadilla, he could pair with Joe, he could pair with Getien that's coming out later on. He pairs with a lot of characters, and he is the mental damage support right now, is being the strongest because we haven't gotten a new one. So hoping for that sometime soon. But I think when people say they want a mental damage support, I think they're wanting someone who is Bjorn Bloom like, that's a 5-star, because Shaman does the same thing that Bjorn Bloom does, but does it for mental damage. But I think people are wanting a Bjorn Bloom level support for mental without having to summon for Shaman, because like Shaman is just right before and right after some really good characters, and that's his unfortunate part. But let's go to 1.4 real quick. 37. Let's talk about it. In short, I'm gonna make this one really short for 37. If you want to perform better in raids that have either an AoE situation or Genesis damage, then get 37. Outside of that, you can use Charlie and Regulus, like with AoE. You can use Charlie and Regulus outside of the fact that you want to perform better in situations that needs Genesis damage. That's pretty much it. And if you cannot get her Eureka up without, like, if you don't have a Babel or a Lilia, then when you summon for her, she's not going to feel as great, because the follow-up is what her damage really comes in with, being able to do consistent follow-ups. I know a lot of you are like, but I can use her with Joe. Well, then you're going to have to wait another, couple months to be able to get the full power of a unit, right? So she'll be mid for you until you can get a broken limited character that can help her out, which, it's kind of up to you if you want to really do that, or, just use the characters that you have, since you've already been doing that, saving up for Joe. So 37 is a beautiful character. A lot of people like her. A lot of people like her I2 art. But I'm just saying, if you don't have a means to upgrade, to put more into her Eureka, then she's not going to feel as mid. If you're summoning her because you really like the character, then none of what I'm saying is mattering. I'm talking about people who are summoning for like a meta or something like that. Because outside of Genesis damage areas, like Charlie and Regulus can just do a consistent amount of decent damage over 37, right? That's just my opinion, just with using the character. And I have portraits, so I can make use of her, but at P0, she just didn't feel as good as when I got portraits with her. And that's just the truth of it, right? But she has 2 raids that she's really useful in. The one that is in 1.6 and the one that's in 1.4. So, but if you don't really care about triple S'ing, then you don't have to get her. Now 6, if anyone's seen me on live streams, anyone's seen me talk about this character, the background NPC 6, he's a really good character, really good buffer. I know a lot of people tried to down talk him because like of his the gamba on his buff and his debuff, but when you get him up to I3, he applies a random buff every single turn. When he buffs, he applies 2 random buffs, and it prioritizes over buffs that you do not have. So it's not really that random, because he can help make sure that he gets off as many buffs as he can every turn, and they last for 2 turns with his I3 passive too. So you'll end up with a whole bar of buffs with using 6, and his ult also applies debuffs before it goes off, and then you can use his skills, and you can use level 1 of his abilities and still get the same as if you're to do level 3 in terms of the buffs and the debuffs. What improving the level, the star level of those abilities is increasing the amount of Eureka that you want, or when you have your Empower Incantation buff, you can do it for 2 turns versus 3, right? That's going to be the difference. But really strong character. He's going to be the universal 4th slot for a lot of teams, universal buffer for a lot of teams. So he allows you to not summon for a lot of characters, because you're like, well, I have 6 and he like fits good. Is he the best option for every team? No, not at all. Like, there are times where you want to use Pickles instead of him. There are times where you want to use Anon Lee instead of him. There are times where you want to use another debuffer. But he is a good option. Like, he's a really good budget option for free to plays. Really good option for you to slot him in whenever you don't have somebody else, or you just want to stop summoning characters. So that is where I feel about 6. Now let's go to 1.5. A lot of people think 1.5 is a skip, right? Which is understandable. A lot of people don't like Ezra. A lot of people don't like Spathia. And I'm just going to say this really quick, because I can't convince some people otherwise. These 2 characters are a lot better than you think. Yes, I have portraits in them, but I use them at P0. They're a lot better than you think. I can just state by saying Spathia at P0 does not need Ulu at all. And she's just a great beast crit character. At the end of the day, she's a great beast crit character. Ezra is a really solid shielder, buffer, debuffer, and the portraits don't even really increase his power. They just up some of the values that he has, but without portraits, he still has a ridiculous amount of health and everything. So, well, of course I have Resonate, but he's a character that if you put Resonate into him, you level him, he's a lot better than what you think. But those are my opinions. If you skip these 2 characters, that's totally on you. But they're really great characters for me. All right. Now let's go to 1.6. Joe is just too strong to skip on unless you have a plan or you just don't care for her. But if you don't have an opinion on her otherwise, she is a little too strong to skip on. She just does too much. And Getien is also going to be a character I believe is going to be a little too strong to skip on, especially with us having his new domain and how reality damage is just really strong. So 1.6 seems to be the even patch that has really strong characters, but Joe especially is too strong to skip on. I'm just saying that with the fact that I have no portraits in her, just have her res, and have her psyche. Like, this is all normal stuff right here. Just, she's just too strong to skip on. It's just how I'm gonna say it. The character's too good. So, and that pretty much concludes where we're at with the characters. Oh, also, skins are top tier. You should probably save up for some of them if you can. But I know there's a lot of good characters coming out, and there's a lot of decisions that you guys have to make. So you need to look at your pulls, and if we were to summarize what you need to do, I would say really make sure that you can get 6, and really make sure that you can get Joe. If you feel that you're confident in doing that, then you can really look at other characters and try for your best, right? Joe's going to be out for a month and a half. So for those of you who are $5 monthly spinners, you can definitely for sure get her, because you don't need 200 pulls to grab her. 200 pulls just guarantees a copy of her, right? So I just want to make sure you don't need 200 pulls to grab her. Like, if it takes you 200 pulls to get her, then that's another issue for you, which is unfortunate because pity is only 70, so at most you just need 140 pulls, just like other characters. But if you're going for that P1, then I guess you can put 200 pulls, but like, you don't need 200 for her. So I think some people are thinking, well, I only need 200. No, the way her banner works is that it has the same 50-50 rule and 70 pity rule. It's just that you can't use pity from like a normal banner like this and think it carries over. No, it starts, hold on. These are a lot of pages, I know. But it starts fresh. So it starts fresh and you have to do your summons. Then once you hit a character, which I missed pity right here and got new babble, then the next time I got her, right? So you have to come at the banner like, okay, this is like, I'm summoning on this banner fresh, and that's how I'm going to go about it. So just make sure that you have at least pity for it, or 100 summons or something like that. That way you can get a copy of the character at least. You don't have to get portraits. Yes, P1 is a great upgrade, P3 and everything like that. And if you're wanting to pull it in like 300, 400 pulls to try to get her P5 because she's limited, then that's on you. But in terms of just power, she's really good at P0. Anything extra is just straight up overkill, but that's up to you. If you like to see the big numbers, then do that, right? But if you're still wanting to have a large roster of characters to have more fun in the game, then just make sure that you can at least get pity in it, because it is very possible for you guys to get the unit. She's up for, again, the whole patch. She's up for 6 weeks. That is a very long time. And I would say to those of you who are free to play, it is unfortunate that you have to wait and pass on a lot of characters. But I will tell you that in 1.6, Black Dwarf and Shaman get added to the standard. So you do have a chance to get those characters if you save up and just go for them. Because I did lose 50-50 and get Shaman. I don't advise that for most people because it could not happen to you. But it is possible. Because I know like Steam Bun in 1.5, he summoned for Spathadia and got Tooth Fairy, right? So it is possible to get those characters that you are missing, but it is not advised. But, it is possible for you to pull a really strong character. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for this video. Hopefully this video is helpful to you. Just give you a little bit of insight and kind of explain some of the things that are going on. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. You lucky gamers, have a good one. Lucky Luck's out.